Hello everyone. Today we're going to check out the YJ MGC 7x7, so let's get right into it. Alright, so here is the cube wrapped in plastic. Now these are some interesting accessories. So we have the same YJ screwdriver as we've seen in the past, and we have two different sets of springs, and they're probably a bit different strength. We have 8 additional magnets, and then a 3-piece YJ stand that we have to assemble ourselves. That is so funny, but it makes total sense for saving space. Alright, so it's just a 3-piece thing. It kind of just snaps together like this. Let's see if we can connect this last side here. And then we have our typical stand. Now it is a bit flimsy, and I kind of take back what I said earlier about the storage, because you could easily just fit it on the corner of this cube, you know, and it doesn't take any extra space. So yeah, now we just have a kind of flimsy stand. See, it keeps breaking. Never mind. I don't really like this. Well, let's get into the actual cube and hope this is a bit better. It is pretty nice. It's a bit loose out of the box, but at least the speed is nice. So yeah, as you can see, it is fairly loose. I might even tighten this a tiny bit, probably not too much, but it is definitely on the flimsy side because it feels like it kind of like pulls apart a bit when I'm doing random turns like this, and it doesn't make me feel that confident turning it. But it seems like all the layers are pretty good. Ooh, don't want to lock up there. All the layers really feel like the exact same, honestly. They're almost actually the fastest on the third layer, the deepest layer, and then they get ever so slightly slower as you go outward. But it's not like bad slow, it's just something I'm noticing. The inners are very fast, but this is very nice. I'm surprised. So I want to do a size comparison to my current main, which is the Spark. As you can see, the MGC is definitely bigger than the Spark. I believe it's only about 1.5 millimeters larger than the Spark, so it's noticeable in the hands, but I don't think it'll be like a crucial difference between the two puzzles. One of the things I really like about my Spark is that I feel like I can turn very fast and it's still like stable and controllable, and I don't really have to worry about pops or lockups at all. And this one out of the box is probably a bit too loose, so I don't feel terribly confident on it, and it does feel like if I turn too fast, you know, I might lock up a little bit, and I really don't want to be popping on 7x7 preferably. Either way, the shades are just typical YJ shades. Pretty decent. The white and yellow are pretty standard. The red and orange are a bit pale, but you know, at least they contrast well. And the blue is nice and dark. I like that color. So I'm actually going to try popping off all these center caps and maybe tightening it a bit and see how that affects the performance. I don't want to over tighten it too far, so I'll probably only do like a quarter turn on each screw. Well, it's noticeably tighter. I might have made it a bit too tight on now, honestly. I'm definitely gonna have to play with this. I could imagine doing a few break-in solves and maybe re-lubing just with some silk or something light. I also want to take note of the magnet strength in this puzzle. It is definitely on the stronger side, especially compared to my Spark. This is the only one I have to compare to at the moment, but the magnet strength on the MGC is fairly strong, and it gets stronger as you get towards the inner layers. So the inner layers feel like they have the strongest magnets. They're a little weaker on the second layer, and on the outers, they're definitely the weakest. It's not a big difference, but I guess it's noticeable. So this puzzle is also definitely a bit more blocky and snappy than the Spark is. This one's, I guess, ever so slightly softer, and maybe the corner cutting is a bit better, and it does have those weaker magnets. So this MGC tends to feel a bit, you know, snappier, a bit more crisp, and definitely a tiny bit blockier, but not in a really bad way. So this blocky feel is something that I've definitely seen as a trend in budget 7x7s. A few months ago, I tried the YJ UFU V2M, same brand, but basically the cheaper version, and it was a very snappy and blocky 7x7, and it is the cheapest magnetic 7x7 you can buy currently for only $20. However, I felt that the big size of the puzzle and the really blocky feeling kind of deterred me from wanting to buy that puzzle. So now the MGC is a bit more expensive. It is $35, but it is slightly smaller than the YJ UFU V2M, and it feels just a bit more premium in every way. So it definitely feels like it flows nicer from turn to turn. It's a bit less blocky, and that's the feeling that I don't really enjoy that much. So I enjoy that this MGC is less blocky, but it's still not, on the tier of the Spark, I would say. I still prefer the fluid turning of the Spark. That said, the Spark is $60. It's very expensive compared to the MGC. It's almost twice as expensive. So that puts this MGC at a really nice mid-range price for a magnetic 7x7. It's not the cheapest, but it's not the most expensive. So the big three brands that make the premium 7x7s right now would be Moyu, Yushin, and X-Man. The X-Man Spark and the Yushin Haze 7 are both $60 for the magnetic versions, and the magnetic Moyu Aofu GTS is also $45, so it's quite a bit more expensive than this MGC. I think that puts this MGC right at the same place that I decided that the MGC 4x4 was at, so that's the best bang for your buck puzzle. It's not the cheapest, and it's not the most expensive, but the performance is definitely trending toward the more premium side, and that's an amazing feature to have in a mid-range puzzle. You can even get this puzzle custom set up by TheCubicle with any of their premium lube surfaces for less money than you can get any of the other premium 7x7s in their stock format. So if you're someone that really wants a pre-set up cube, maybe that's the way to go for you. The size of this puzzle is also important to consider. It's 68mm, and my main, the Spark, is 66.5. Now that smaller size is something that I really appreciate since my hands aren't really that big. But after doing a few solves on this MGC, really, you get used to it over time. But if you really want the smallest thing out there, then the Spark is the one to get. So yeah, I understand that it might not always be fair to compare this mid-range puzzle to basically the top of the line 7x7. But at the same time, the performance of this MGC 7x7 is so good that for, I think, your average 7x7 solver, it wouldn't really make a big difference in your solving times whether you get the MGC or the Spark. Would I recommend it to the pros? Probably not, but if you're looking to get your first magnetic 7x7, I think this one's a great buy. That said, since I already have a Spark M, I won't be upgrading to the MGC as my main, but the MGC is still an amazing option. I'd like to thank TheCubicle for sending me this puzzle to test out. If you want to buy one for yourself, I'll have a link in the description below so you can check it out on their store. Also, if you like saving money, you can get 5% off all your orders from TheCubicle.com with the discount code LCC at checkout, so be sure to use that code. That's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.